Hey, what is going on, guys? In today's video, I want to have a conversation about predicting the shotgun meta that we're likely to see in EZFN Season 4, and how we're going to do that is we're going to go through each shotgun, pump shotgun, tac shotgun, and heavy shotgun, and compare it against how we have it now and see whether it's getting nerfed or buffed, and then at the end of the video, we'll go over some of what I think are going to be the best combos to run when Season 4 does come out. Let's start out with the pump shotgun. And I would honestly say the pump shotgun is overall going to be getting nerfed against the current version of EZFN we have. And I'd say that because although there are some buffs, it's going to be counteracted by major nerfs. So let's go over each of those. The first buff is a headshot multiplier buff, which means instead of 2x damage, you're going to have 2.5x damage. I think this is a really good change because what it means is now the green pump will also the one shot, not just the blue. What that'll mean is that it's going to remove RNG from the game because no matter which variant of the pump you have, if you have the aim and you line up the shot, you can still one-shot someone even if you only have 1 health and they have 200. So I think that's overall a good change, and it will make the green pump in particular significantly better. The second thing is the wall damage is going to get increased from around 50 right now to 100. I think this is another good change because it just opens up really interesting plays of using your shotgun to blast out walls. Right now you can't really do that because doing about 50 wall damage, that's not going to do anything. But with 100 wall damage, if someone places a fresh floor, for example, you could blast it out with your pump and then switch to another shotgun and hit damage, right? You could take walls using the pump. I think that's going to open up a lot of interesting plays, and I'm definitely in favor of the wall damage buff. The third buff is the range is going to go from 6 to 8 tiles. I actually think this is another good change because right now the tac actually outranges the pump, which makes zero sense because the tac spread is so much wider. I think this is good because it's going to let you use the pump from further away, and overall I just feel like the pump feels nicer when it has more range, as we saw in Era Season 5 and 6. Now all these buffs probably make you think, wow, the pump shotgun is going to be the greatest gun of all time, but there are several significant nerfs to talk about. First off, the purple and gold variants are completely gone. I think this is a great change. I don't really see a reason why the spaz needs to exist. It draws far too fast, and quite frankly, it makes it very hard for any other shotgun to be competitive as long as the spaz exists. So I'm in favor of this. I think this is going to be a good change. The next thing is the body damage is going to be reduced from 95-100 to 90-95. For the green pump, not a big deal. Yeah, 5 damage, you'd rather do 95, but it's not like you can two-shot someone from 200 health doing only body shots, so kind of irrelevant. But the blue pump, that's actually a major nerf, because right now what you can do is if you have 2 blue pumps, you just hit 2 full body shots, and that's an elimination. Now, that won't work. So I think that's a good change because it's going to make it harder for you to clip people out with 2 shots. You're going to have to either do critical damage or hit 3 shots. So I think overall, that's a good change. The biggest nerf, however, is the draw speed is going to be much slower on the pump shotgun. Right now, it's hanging out at about 450 milliseconds. It's going to be about 583 to about 600 milliseconds after the nerf. That may not sound like much, like 125, 150 milliseconds, whatever, right? No, that's actually huge because now what that means is that with the pump shotgun, when you make an edit play, you now have the slowest drawing shotgun. So you're taking a lot of risk as you're going to take well over half a second to pull out your shotgun and fire. And it also means when you're using double pump, it's much slower now. You can't just 2-shot clip people out ridiculously fast. You're going to have to be patient and wait for the timing of the double pump. So I think this is a great change, but it is a major nerf because it's going to massively slow down double pump and make edit plays much more risky. So something to keep in mind. Overall, I would say this is actually a nerf for the pump shotgun. Still think the pump shotgun is going to be a very strong option, probably on the border between S and X tier, but I think it's more reasonable now, and this is going to open up more options as we talk about the other shotguns, which we'll move on to the tac next. The tac shotgun, I think, is overall going to be buffed significantly. There are 2 major changes. The first one is the headshot multipliers going from 2.0 to 2.5. Although you still can't one-shot people, going from 148 max to 185 is going to feel really nice. You know, that blue tac is going to do a lot of damage if you can manage to line up a perfect critical hit. Admittedly, that's very rare with the tac, but it just means that, you know, if you even hit 1 pellet with critical damage, it's going to boost your damage just a little bit. And because the tac shotgun spread is so wide, you know, you might occasionally hit a pellet or 2 there. So could be something worth, keeping in mind as being overall a decent buff. The second thing is the wall damage is going to get buffed from around 50-55 that it is now up to 70. Not as major as the pump shotgun, but it's still nice. That means you can use the Tac Shotgun to blast out walls, more quickly, and it opens up some more options. So overall, I'd say the Tac Shotgun is going to be noticeably better than it was before. Doing more damage, more wall damage. Overall, going to be a really solid choice. Finally, the Heavy Shotgun. Heavy Shotgun's not an EZFN Season 7. I think the best point of comparison is probably going to be against Era Season 6, as that's probably the last time a lot of you have played with the Heavy Shotgun. Against Era Season 6, the wall damage is going from, I believe it's about 77, 80 wall damage before, will now be 100. Same kind of deal as the pump. Previously, you could actually use the Heavy Shotgun to make some wall-taking plays. Like, you could pickaxe it once and then blast out the wall. That's just going to be even better now. Because doing 100 wall damage, you can blast out freshly built stairs, freshly built walls. And because the Heavy Shotgun draws faster than the pump, it opens up more options to continuously blast out walls. So I think this is actually a pretty decent buff. That's really the only buff the Heavy Shotgun's going to be getting. Against Era Season 6, I suppose you don't have the shotgun delay, so you can fire 0.25 seconds faster if you shoot, build a wall, shoot. So something to keep in mind. I think the Heavy Shotgun's going to be a very good option and very competitive in this meta. So now, let's kind of talk about what the best combos are going to be to finish off this video. I think there are really 6 very competitive close-range combos that you're going to want to run, which is Double Pump. Although Double Pump is going to be by far the slowest combo in the game, I still think it's going to be very competitive because you're going to be able to continuously one-shot people. You're going to do 100 wall damage. I think it's going to be a very competitive, and you could honestly argue Double Pump is the best option. I don't think it's the only option like it is now, but it's still going to be a very strong option, just a bit slower. Pump Heavy, I also think is going to be very competitive. You still have that big one-shot damage of the pump, but you can switch to the Heavy, which will have more range and draw a bit faster. I think that's going to be a very competitive combo. Pump Tac, also a very nice combo. It's a bit easier to use, right? You can do that big damage with the pump, but if you miss, no big deal. You can just continuously fire the Tac afterwards. I think that's going to be a very competitive combo, a bit faster, more dynamic. So also think that's going to be a very competitive combo. Double Heavy I also think will be very competitive. It's going to be quite a bit faster than Double Pump, have a lot of range. You can do a lot of damage very quickly with Double Heavy. I think that's going to be a really solid combo and going to be a lot of fun to play with. Something to also keep in mind is the Tac SMG I think will also be quite solid. So I think the Pump and the Tac SMG, as well as the Heavy and the Tac SMG, will also be very competitive options. If you like the SMG type secondary instead of another shotgun, that's going to be perfectly viable because you can do huge damage with the shotgun, and the Tac SMG is very high DPS. So you can laser people. Tac SMG is a bit more ranged than, especially the Pump Shotgun and Tac Shotgun. So you can use it that way. It's going to be very effective at spraying down builds. I think it's going to be a very competitive combo as well. Now, I think there's half a dozen combos that we just talked about that are going to be very competitive, but I also think there's going to be some other combos, that maybe aren't top tier, but still usable and you definitely could still have some fun with. Heavy Tac. I don't think Heavy Tac makes quite as much sense as Pump Tac because the point of Pump Tac is that you fire once, you switch the tac, and you keep shooting until you build. You might as well take the big damage to the pump. Heavy Tac I still think will be a good option, just maybe not a top tier choice. The Tac Shotgun and the Tac SMG, I don't think that makes as much sense as running a pump or heavy, because if you're switching to Tac SMG, you want to do as much damage as possible with the first shot. Tac Shotgun's not really going to do that, but it's still viable. If you want an easy to use combo, Tac Shotgun and Tac SMG I think could still be a decent choice. Not like super amazing, but still a decent choice. And I think single shotgun of any variant plus the AR, or single shotgun of any variant plus the LMG, will also be decent choices. I don't think they'll be as good as running like a double pump or, pump, Tac SMG, heavy Tac SMG, any of those really good combos, because you're going to be sacrificing a lot of your close range ability, not running, either a secondary shotgun or Tac SMG, but I still think it can be viable. If you want to run a sniper plus 2 heals, for example, you might want to use this. Still a viable option. I don't think it's going to be top tier, but definitely a choice that you could opt to take, and I think it's just going to be a really fun meta, because I think there's going to be more than a dozen possible close-range combinations. They're all going to be viable and interesting, and I think it's going to be so much fun to play around with it, talk about it, have debates about what is the best combo. It's really going to depend on your playstyle, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play around with. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.